Dawson Rider review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Lord Drakkon Evolution 3. This was a Hasbro Pulse and Hasbro PulseCon exclusive, and very likely, like 99.9%, probably was going to be the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for this year, but obviously got pushed. And as a result, it's in a pretty cool packaging, which I wanted to show off before I opened it and delved into the main review, because it's pretty cool. So if you're someone that's like a box collector, or you're just buying this or going to keep it in box, it actually looks pretty neat. This was the sleeve that was over it. It's like kind of see-through-ish and just has the name all around it, nothing too special, but it's pretty nice. It's like more of a hard plastic, so it keeps it secure. Like, I can't imagine keeping this on and displaying it without being able to see the figure, but still, it's kind of nice. It always makes it feel a little more premium, like, ooh, a figure sleeve, I'm high rolling. But then when you get into the actual box, like, it's see-through, so you can see Drakkon here, and you can see me. I'm not going to be in yours probably, so that's something to consider if you're like, I really want Dawson's reflection in my display. It's not going to be there, so keep that in mind. But like, you can see Drakkon without his helmet on there, and you can see the effect part and all the accessories, so that's pretty cool. Not only does it look cool, but again, if you're someone that's going to buy this and keep it in box, it's kind of already in a neat little display mode instead of just kind of sitting there at attention like the others and all that jazz. Hello again. And then on the side here, obviously you have the cool art that we always get, which is always a nice bonus, and on the other side, more of the same art. So I just wanted to show that off because it's a special exclusive packaging. But now let's open this puppy up. Okay, so now we have everything out of box, and Drakkon looks like he's about to be hit by a wave of wind or just got surprised or something. But let's talk about accessories real quick. First, so you only have two sets of hands, one of which are the ones on him, which I swapped out, which are kind of the Force Lightning hands, and then just two holding things hands for, you know, holding weapons and whatnot. And as you can see here, you have lots of neat little stuff. Like, you have a bunch of lightning effects, as you saw in the box. It like wraps around him, which is kind of cool. Like, it does look pretty neat, and you can get it into pretty cool formations. As I've said in past videos, I'm a little bit sick of the lightning parts, but at least this is kind of a cooler one. I think a throne would have been cooler. Definitely more expensive. Like, part of me wishes they would have done a throne, but I see why they didn't, because it would have been way more expensive. But I kind of hope they do one in some form someday. But you have all this extra pieces, and it's like two different pieces, and you can sort of finagle them the way you want. But, you know, if you've seen these before, par for the course. Then right here, you have this little evil rock lazy Susan of Crest Ranger helmets. No, but these are just the Mighty Morphin ones. For whatever reason, we're just missing Billy. Like, how much would it have driven up the cost to I guess you have Billy and Zach. Poor Zach, can't believe I forgot about him. But I feel like they could have easily done all the Mighty Morphin helmets. But also, on the other hand, I wish they would have done more than just Mighty Morphin, because if you're familiar with this Drakkon stuff in Shattered Grid, like all the art where he had the crushed helmets by him, they were from a bunch of different seasons, since that was the whole point of that storyline. So I think it would have been nice to maybe do 2 MMPRs and 2 non-MMPRs or something like that. Mainly because, like I said, that's the way the story is, and I certainly didn't expect it to have helmets that we've never gotten yet, like Hyperforce Yellow or like Time Force Blue or something, but they could have done like Zero Ranger 3 and In Space Yellow or something, ones we have gotten. But still, I think it's pretty neat that they included it, and they look pretty cool, and I like them, and I like this little sort of display you can have them on as well. I think that's pretty neat. In a way, though, this is kind of a helmet we haven't gotten yet. I mean, in terms of, obviously, we haven't gotten any battle damaged ones, but this was released, the info for this was released before we knew they were going to be doing a regular Green Ranger soon, and technically right now, the regular Green Ranger just went up for pre-order, and all we have is Silver Stripe, so in a way, this is almost like a helmet we haven't gotten yet. And then you got your same weird Red Ranger sculpt, but I think it's pretty cool that they have this, and they do come off of the rock display, and I'm sure there's those curious, they do fit on the regular Rangers, so you can have battle damage displays if you want, which is pretty cool. You know, that's pretty easy for them to do, but I still appreciate that, so I think that's a nice little extra. So hey, maybe if you picked up an MMPR red or pink that was really filled with paint mistakes all over the chest, you can put on this helmet and then just call it battle damage. Then you also have Saba here, which is very nicely painted. You don't have a dragon dagger or anything like that. Now, you might have been able to do this with the previous one, and I'm just noticing it now, but you can pop off the head so you can get that broken Saba. I'm not entirely sure why one of the Drakkons hasn't included it yet, why they haven't wanted to. Maybe they'll include like an official broken-headed Saba if they ever do Drakkon Evolution 2 or 3, but you can do that if you want. And you have the Drakkon head here with his, you know, white stripes here after Magneto put him in the machine on the Statue of Liberty. And just to compare it, here is the classic Drakkon head, so you can see, like, you know, taking over the Morphin grid gives you like lightning sickness, and you know, it's a hell of a drug, but it looks pretty good. I think they did a good job on these since they have more of a likeness from like JDF doing the live action trailer and stuff. I'm still wishing that future comic releases will have heads for them, like Ranger Slayer didn't, but I'm hoping if we ever do the Omegas or something that they have actual heads. Now, real quick before we get into the actual figure, just real quick side by side here with classic Drakkon, and you can see mine has battle damage from Hasbro's paint mistakes. But that's what they look like side by side, so that's pretty cool, and you can see sort of the differences in their like designs. Like this one has a little bit of a more close to the original Green Ranger design here for this. The wraparound, obviously, the Morphin grid amulet there, the differences in the belt. It's really funny because until I had these figures, I actually kept feeling in my head like this was basically just a black gold repaint, which it is closer, but you can see the differences obviously there, and also the heads. The head on this is a lot wider. This is a little bit thinner and more stylized the way it looks in the show, so that's just kind of cool to see them together. Also, before I forget it, before we get into the figure, you do get this really cool little cardboard cutout of this, basically a cover of him with the helmets on there, which is really cool. It's kind of like a small little mini poster, I guess if you want a small poster around. Like, it's a neat little bonus. For a second, I almost thought it was a comic, but still, a neat bonus. Now on to the main event. The first thing I want to draw attention to, and maybe this is just me because it's difficult or I'm an idiot, but the cape on this has a really hard time staying on. Like, it looks good. I like the way that the flow of it looks like cloth even though it's plastic, but it has a hard time staying on. You have one peg here that goes both through the armor and the figure, and then these two are just kind of go through this soft area here. But for whatever reason, mine has a really hard time staying on. There's even been times where I've gotten this to make it like a clicking pop. I'm like, oh, I got it. And then I turn the figure around and it does that. So maybe it's mine that's loose, maybe I'm just not hitting it right, you know how it is, but it has a hard time staying on, so I'm going to set it aside for now. It looks cool with it, but if this is the case for a lot of them, that's kind of disappointing, and I wish there would have been something a little bit better with that, especially since I was so excited for this figure. But hey, I'm just going to set it aside for now, and I want to draw attention to that. But setting that aside, which is one of my major issues, outside of that, I'm very pleased with this figure. I was really excited for this release. This is probably my favorite Drakkon form, because it takes everything I like about the design of the main Drakkon form and makes it like a black gold edition. And if you guys don't know, I'm kind of a sucker for black gold editions, like with the Megazord and stuff. I think the color looks cool. Not to mention, I think it's really cool that his ultimate pinnacle of like evil Tommy, the black gold color mirrors the ultimate pinnacle of good Tommy as Dino Thunder Black. I think that's super cool. But like I said, the head sculpt I think looks good. It does mirror the sort of thinner design that you see in some of the art, which looks nice. I think the gold and black look really good on it. Fortunately, I don't have any really noticeable paint nicks or anything, because that can be something to watch out for, especially with an online-only one like this. You can't exactly go in the store and pick out one without paint mistakes, but I was pretty lucky. This is a soft plastic like usual. I think the gold looks good, though. It does make it kind of difficult for these staying in, as I mentioned. The articulation is pretty much par for the course. Nice ball joint here, double elbow joint, swiveling at the hands, ball joint on the legs, swiveling at the legs, knee joint there. Then you have the nice hinge joint on his foot, chest and waist articulation, head and neck articulation, and thankfully no loose joint problems on mine for this one. Then you can see the details on the Morpher, and everything else looks good. It's almost like a blackish gray color compared to some of the more hard black colors like for the regular Black Ranger from mmpr and stuff. But I think color-wise and sculpt-wise, I'm very happy with it. I think it's a very nice looking figure. Like I said, I like the design a ton, so I was pretty excited we were doing this. It's a pretty good one for an exclusive, and I really like it a lot. And as of right now, I don't know if there's going to be more popping up on Hasbro Pulse or anything like that, but these were actually pretty easy to get a hold of. Like, I went through like lightning fast to try to get one, but it was up for hours afterwards, so that's kind of a good sign. I wouldn't rule it out entirely, us getting another release down the line. If I remember right, they did a second wave of leftovers or whatever of the exclusive Jason pack from last year, some months down the road, so keep an eye out. And also, it's obviously not unheard of for Hasbro to include versions of exclusive in regular lines. As we saw, we got the tray version of gold, so I'm not sure what they would do do, but if you did happen to miss this and you're interested in it without having to go on eBay or something, just kind of be patient. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. The last thing I wanted to do here was just show it off. And this is the throne that was the Power Morphicon exclusive throne, which it looks pretty good in there, but I wanted to highlight it because, A, that looks cool, but you can't really put it in there with the cape because it doesn't bend. I mean, I guess you can have it like that, but you can't really have it there with the cape, so that's probably part of the reason they didn't include a throne. I do hope they do a throne one day. It'd probably be like an exclusive accessory pack, because this one's starting to chip off because it looks cheap, but I think it's cool to be able to do that. So just know, if you own this throne or another one, or you made your own, you're probably not going to be able to include this unless you're really dedicated and put like a cape loop through there. But overall, I'm happy with this figure for the most part. Like, I'm happy to have it. I think it looks really cool. Like I said, I really like the form. I think the accessories were pretty cool. I really like the broken helmets, and that if I don't want to have that display, I can put them on other Lightning figures. My main complaint really comes from the cape, which is kind of an unfortunate drawback of how difficult it is to stay on, but that's really my only huge complaint. I think if you're into this guy's design or the character, I can definitely recommend checking it out. Just be warned, the cape thing may be a problem, but I'm personally always excited to see more comic-based figures, especially from my favorite designs. But anyways, guys, that's about it for this one. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.